Hello and welcome to Coffee Lovers TV and Coffee Lovers Radio. Joseph here with Coffee Lovers Magazine. This is Jesse Nelson of Conduit Coffee. Here. We're at Conduit Coffee and we're doing a little joint radio/TV show because we can and we want to.
We're going to try it out. There's a lot of fun things to talk about and some things to sort of demo at the same time.
Exactly. We've got a pretty demonstrative show today. We're going to be looking at water. And we're also going to be brewing. What is the coffee we're brewing today?
We're brewing with our Rwanda.
Yeah,
the Copacabana.
Delicious.
It's really good.
Delicious Rwanda. So yeah, water. So one of my favorite YouTubers, the channel is Report of the Week. And he's a comedian and he does reviews of fast food. Mm-hmm. One of his most popular videos, he's actually reviewing different kinds of water, like spring water versus like enhanced water or whatever it is.
Right.
I can't remember. Anyways, it's hilarious. But I keep thinking about that as we're planning this.
Did he notice the difference or was it just comedy?
No, it was just comedy.
Oh, okay.
They tasted like water.
Well, we're going to have an experiment that shouldn't, hopefully not just taste like water.
But yeah, because the thing is water does make a huge difference with the coffee.
Absolutely.
For many people, maybe not so noticeable, but we kind of wanted to explore that. So we got this company's product, this Third Wave water. The idea is you get distilled water and you add in one of these packets which has a bunch of, minerals.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is water can't just be, like you can't brew with distilled water.
Right.
You're not going to get anything that you want out of the coffee.
Right, because the minerals actually help bring those flavor compounds and those acids into that cup of coffee that you're drinking. Mm-hmm. It's not the water, it's not dissolving into the water, it's the flavor compounds being carried with those minerals.
Right. But you also don't want too much in the water as well.
Well, in certain ones. I mean, there's things in the water that we get out of tap water and things like that that just aren't that great to brew with. Chlorine and fluoride and any other kind of rust or things like that might be in the pipes. If you're in Flint, Michigan, there's some other things in there.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You might want to filter that, get distilled. I'm really excited for this because I've never even tried it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Third Wave water.
And so we're a little spoiled in the Pacific Northwest. Really great water table here. We can just brew with tap water.
Can we?
I brew with tap water. I mean, maybe we're gonna find out. We're gonna do a little tap water.
In all your other videos, is that tap water?
No, I usually just use a Brita filter at home type thing. But sometimes I do brew with tap water. And if I was comparing side by side, maybe I can tell the difference. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we're gonna find that out here shortly because we're gonna do that. I can make a great cup of coffee with just tap water much of the time. I mean, my building's new; it doesn't have any issues. But even if not, putting it through a Brita filter makes water that's perfectly fine. But for many places in the world, in many places in the United States, that's not the case. You don't have amazing water table to work from. So what we're going to do is the first round we're going to compare tap water versus filtered water here.
Yeah, the filtered water is our standard brew, kind of what we use for everything here. It's off our water filtration system, which is fairly similar to a Brita. It's not a super fancy one.
Just a charcoal filter, essentially.
Yep.
And then we're going to take a look at the Third Wave water, so this gallon here, this is distilled water, and we add one of these packets to it, which I'm going to do while you're preparing that.
We've decided not to do straight distilled water.
Right.
Because we've done that before, and it's not very good.
No. Also, I didn't bring enough distilled water.
Oh.
I think maybe that was the main challenge. We'll do distilled water in another show, maybe.
Just prove a point. It'll be the addendum to this.
But it is not like it's completely missing what you want in the coffee. Like you get some stuff out of it. It's not just like water going through and you get nothing.
Right. I mean, there's some flavors in there, but it's really like it doesn't hold. It's really interesting. Try it. It's not that very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then we got a bottle of fancy water, which I could see if you didn't have a filter at home or you had really nasty water and you needed to go get bottled water.
Or the myth that you have to spend this kind of money on a water.
Or
that's kind of what these guys are, the Third Wave water, talking about is that there's tap water that's just awful and it's really hard and filtration systems can be kind of expensive, but it's fairly easy, a gallon of distilled water, and then you put that as a packet in there and So we're going to start off brewing 2 Chemexes at a time. So the first brew is going to be our standard controlled brew with Rwanda, with our regular tap water, or our regular filtered water here. Okay. And we have some cold tap water from the studio here as well.
Okay.
We're kind of lowland area in Seattle, so there's some sediment and stuff like that in our water. But like you said before, we have great water here.
Yeah.
So
It'll be fun to find out.
yeah, we're not going to make any predictions
Nope.
because we don't want to be disappointed.
But we're going to be brewing for all this. We're brewing the same coffee
Yep.
on Chemex's. Jesse's got that down, the Chemex.
Yeah, so we can feel free to ask me about the brew ratio and stuff like that. We have some coffee. We just ground this coffee. We're doing 35 grams in to 580 grams of water. I'll be on video with my fingers in here because I can't talk and weigh at the same time.
And I'm going to be adding these minerals.
And I'm going to start right off with the regular water.
All right, so this is regular water brewing
Yep, this is how I make Chemex every day.
on the Chemex. So you go 1-to-1 and then you stir.
Basically 1-to-1. These are stir
actively.
sticks that we have our neighbors make for us. Nice little glass stir sticks. You can find them at conduitcoffee.com. They're really handy. I find you get a nice consistent start to the brew.
Well, also, like,
we've talked about the merits of stir sticks.
yeah, so before I got one of those, I would stir with a spoon and occasionally tear my filter.
Or it's too big, you can't get into the end down there as much.
Never tear the filter with those sticks. They're really nice. All right.
And they're handmade.
Minerals going into the distilled water.
Is there a time limit for that?
Doesn't say, it just says put it in.
Oh. Shake it.
1 gallon distilled water plus third wave water equals perfect coffee water. This is all I got in the package. So this is literally the instructions I have.
Is this a promo thing or is it an ordinary?
No, it's just ordinary, ordered off the website.
It's like they got their bag design from Conduit or something.
or coffee lovers.
We know where you got yours from.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, so we'll get this brew going here.
It's not exactly settling, so. Bam.
That was exciting.
That was thrilling.
That might be the most exciting part of all
Suddenly
this.
this is perfect coffee water, ladies and gentlemen.
It still has the same label on it though.
So we'll just,
We're just gonna stand here casually and...
just gonna come back to it after the coffee's brewed.
No, this is our filtered water
That's
that
the
we're
filtered
starting
water.
with. Yeah.
Okay. The usual, I guess what you said.
Yeah. Some sort of control.
Yep.
Keep that one on the right. Put that in the foreground so all those lovely people can see that gorgeous brew.
Also, that's the filtered water is with the seahorse.
Ah, yes.
Filtered water is the seahorse.
Didn't even think about that. Chemex.
Thank you, Chemex.
So I make a Chemex every day. I feel like my recipes are pretty consistent.
They are.
We were kind of debating
excellent.
about what brew method to use for this because Chemex isn't necessarily the most consistent brew method.
But your Chemex is, I think.
I make them, yeah.
I bet mainly for this comparison, I wanted the brews between each to be consistent, and I think
As much as we can.
Yeah, as much as we can.
But the Chemex is also a more realistic way to brew coffee, I think, for a lot of people with the filter and the way they're going to taste it.
I mean, our other options are. I didn't really want to do a V60. I think it's kind of interesting. I see V60 thrown around as a really good, like, people recommend it to people who are trying to get into coffee. But to me, that requires a lot of finesse and skill and knowledge of
and a
brewing
really
to
nice grinder. I find it takes a lot of skill to make a good V60. And a gooseneck kettle, like you really got to regulate your flow.
You have to
AeroPress, you can just dump water into the top of that thing and make it happen. They don't break. V60s are a lot cheaper. I mean, just getting a little acrylic one. So it's a good way to get in to make a manual brew method.
I mean, I think if you want to do that, just start with a Melita. Just get a classic.
We love Melitas.
Classic little drip there.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a whole other subject. So the Cruve, the sifter.
Yeah.
I haven't done this yet with the Chemex, but I sifted on the bottom end for a cold brew.
To take the fines out.
Take the fines out.
Right.
And it was so much better. It brewed so much easier, and it tasted cleaner.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it makes sense. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the Cruve is a grind sifter. So the idea is you have 2 filters. You have 3 chambers and 2 filters that are designed to, you have a larger grind size and a smaller grind size, and you're basically going for the middle, like in between those 2 sizes. So the filter will keep the larger ones out, the larger grinds out, and remove the smaller grinds. So that's kind of the general idea of the Cruve. I still haven't done a show on here for that, as I've been exploring the usefulness of that at home.
I have a title for that show, though.
It's, what is the title?
Yeah, how Coffee Lovers Magazine got its groove back.
Okay. Did I lose my groove ever? I see how it is. I see how it is. So figuring out the usefulness of that at home is has been a little bit of a challenge, just because it takes a while to sift. It's kind of a pain to just constantly sift every brew, but it has been fun to experiment, and removing the fines is really helpful. And the reason I brought it up is because that last Chemex was choked a little bit due to the fines.
Well, and that's just the grind setting and stuff like that we have. But
okay, so we have the
so this is our standard brew coming through
Seahorse here is our standard brew.
Yep.
It's brewed with just charcoal filtered water, we'll call it.
Yeah.
As you might do with a
I mean, it's
home
kind
filter.
of a low-end, simple filtration system for kind of some commercial scale, high use. So. It's warm. It's a lovely coffee.
tastes like coffee.
Yep. I mean, ordinarily this coffee has like just kind of a buttery mouthfeel. There's some really good mango in there.
Yeah, I was going
Vanilla
for like,
sweetness. Like there's some good.
like rich fruit sugar.
Yep.
Like a mango.
And as it cools, then that sort of brightness. There's even a little tangerine comes through there a little bit. So
That is nice. Maybe a little chocolate. So I'm gonna keep these separate.
Yep.
On the right is tap water.
Your
on
side.
my right.
Yeah. I'm keeping mine in the same order as the kettle because otherwise I'm going to lose my mind.
Filtered
Yes. With the
seahorse, tap water, sparrow, hawk. It's got big wings.
It's an osprey.
Osprey? Okay. That is a bird of prey. for the
Coffee
for the TV
lovers
viewers.
and ornithology report.
The filtered is more round on the tongue. I feel like it's richer.
Yeah.
I feel like the other one's a little bit flatter.
Yeah. There's a weird kind of almost like a rubbery sort of
There's a little sourness in it.
medicinal or kind of a there's something else in there. It's been so long since I've brewed coffee with tap water.
Yeah, there's
I
something.
kind of feel ashamed to do that. The brews are almost identical.
Yeah, about the same amount of time.
But the reality is I've brewed this for Wanda now for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And Chemex is almost every day of it. And including like an AeroPress today and on the cupping table earlier and stuff. And I haven't had that flavor yet.
This is surprisingly different. I think it's still a little subtle. Like, I'm not sure the average coffee drinker. No, I mean,
It's there.
this is clearly missing like a
This is
dimension
juicy.
that this has. Yeah,
This has a lot more
yeah.
juiciness. And right where you feel like they're almost the same, then it sort of splits off. And like it's just not juicy. It gets a little
Yeah.
more herbally. And there's a words.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's other notes in there and words and stuff too.
there is, but just in broad strokes, like it's just missing something that the filtered coffee has, like completely missing a dimension of some kind of richness or bite to it that I wish it had.
Right.
And then it was also hitting like the middle of my tongue with this like nasty sourness on the.
And it's not the temperature difference of the coffee's cooling, but
No,
it's just juicy. The first one is much juicier. It's a
I
darn
would
good
call
coffee.
this almost boring by comparison. Fascinating. Let's
Well, I
brew
want
some
to keep
more.
talking about this. I
Yeah.
want to get into part 2.
Yeah, let's get into part 2 because
There might be an edit or a cut in here at some point, but
Yeah, I think,
we're going to dump out this water and we're going to rinse it with our filtered water, and then we're going to put these 2 different waters in there. So one reason why Seattle is such good water, I'll just dump in this. Yep. Is because our municipality owns the watershed. A lot of the water that comes in is coming straight from the mountains and the Cascades. So that helps. This is from Norway.
It's just
Did Tim
fancy.
Wendelboe bring this for you?
No, he did
Is
not.
this what they?
No,
Is this what they have in Oslo for all their coffee?
I have no idea. It's just fancy artesian water is what they call it. So yeah, I didn't really think too much about the fancy one. I was just
You just bought the fanciest one you could.
I just looked at the shelf and I'm like, that looks like fancy water. Let's see what kind of coffee it brews. I mean,
Oh, marketing works so well.
I feel like I've got a good vision of the taste of the Rwanda just filtered. And I know that in broad strokes, with the tap water, it's just lacking a dimension. Again, surprisingly
Yeah.
different. Like, I kind of want to do a side-by-side at home just to
Look at
see how
this.
my tap water is
Maybe
at home.
it's my imagination. I think it's just my angle and the lights. Never mind. Thought I had a scientific breakthrough.
Oh, are you looking at the film on top?
Yep.
Yeah, they both have it on mine. It's just the coffee oils. good sir.
I know. I was hoping it was just like petroleum oil from the tap water.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is why. That's why you always leave a note.
It's just diesel from the trucks going by.
Oh, Westlake, we love you.
Proper
Yeah, we always
waters.
rinse our filters. We'll do that in a minute.
Yeah, and just
we got
as a
some
note on the
degrees.
first ones and on these, we rinsed with the same water that we brewed with.
Yep.
Just so that there was no possible contamination. And we're back. So we're about to brew. This is the right one. This is the Seahorse. This is going to be the fancy water.
Yes, the fancy bottled water.
Fancy bottled water.
Way too expensive. How much was that?
Hey,
$4 or something?
actually, it was on sale, so it was $2.50,
Ooh.
and it's a glass bottle.
$2.50 for the glass bottle, 800 milliliters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still, it's kind of silly for water.
So that's about
but
$10 a gallon.
It is
But just
$10
out
a
of,
gallon.
out of curiosity, so this has calcium, magnesium, potassium, chloride, and total dissolved solids of 44 parts per million. I assume that means. So
Yeah, I
mean,
don't know.
it's-
I don't even know what this is, to be honest. It doesn't say what parts per million this produces.
I'm feeling it's probably getting down there because that's about where you want it to be. All right, so we're going to start off here. We have the 35 grams of Rwanda Copacabana.
Oh, and just for comparison, so since we're talking about price of the water, the gallon of distilled was $1.20, and this packet of 10 capsules was $10. So each capsule is $1.
So for
So
about
a
20
gallon-
bucks, you can do 10 gallons.
Gallon of third wave is $2.20.
All right, brewing with the fancy bottled water.
Yep. Same coffee, same
Yep.
process,
Same grind setting.
same grind setting. Jesse does this multiple times a day, every day for years, so we can be reasonably
Save
sure
me.
that
Save me from myself.
he's stuck in a circle of brewing chemixes nonstop. But so we can be reasonably sure that the process is as consistent as you can get.
Yep. Well, and you and I mean, we do this enough with our coffees, and we know this coffee fairly well, that
Yeah.
you can tell the difference between kind of a brewing issue versus some of the
Right.
mineral-related extraction, we think.
Yeah, we think. But I mean, on those first two, watching you brew, and just as a recall, so the regular charcoal filtered water had that really nice, bright richness, good complexity, yada yada. The tap water mainly was just lacking in dimension compared to that.
Yep.
But your process was pretty identical. Just watching you brew, I didn't see anything, even down to the stirring at the beginning, etc.
Taste them now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable.
Wow. It's like the difference.
It's like 2 different cups of coffee.
Yeah, it is. So what I was going to say is it reminds me of Tim Wendelbo is at
La
KXP,
Marzocco, yeah.
La Marzocco right now, and we talked about this on the show, but they have special cups, and I get those kind of differences in the different cups. That doesn't mean anything to y'all, but it's a remarkable difference. It is. It's like it is like 2 different.
It's like, what do you mean a
coffees.
different cup would make it taste
Okay,
differently,
but here's the thing.
right?
So, yeah, it's true. It sounds absurd, but it really is. Like, this is just, the tap water is just boring by comparison. It's missing
Yep.
an entire
you
dimension
get like
of
some
flavor.
of the chocolate in there,
Yeah.
some of that cocoa flavor, and then there's nothing else. It
Yeah.
turns into like just dry, kind of chalky. There's no body. There's nothing
Yeah.
that lingers. Whereas the other one, like I still can taste that peach juice a little bit, that kind of
Yeah.
mango sweetness in there.
Yeah,
All right, we need coffee before we start pouring water.
that's probably a good idea. Okay, so now this is the third wave
This
water.
is the big test, yeah.
All right.
So I will totally
That's what we all
disregard
came
my
here for.
ratio. I know you just showed up. I got third wave water.
But that is quite remarkable how different that is. I should say, though, that, I mean, despite what we're saying about the tap water one,
Still good.
it's not bad.
You made a face earlier that would totally
Yeah,
contradict
that's
that
true.
statement, but we live in
The
a world
af-
of contradicting statements these days.
The
So
aftertaste is not amazing.
as long as you tweet about it,
I'm
and change your
trying
mind,
to
you're
trying to
fine.
look at it like in a vacuum. If I was handed this coffee, I might shrug and be like, it's not terrible.
No. Can't forget what I'm doing.
But when you know that it should be like this, it's kind of like, holy crap, that's what I'm brewing? Mm-hmm. There's just, it's an entire layer of dimension that's missing. Gosh, I wish I like had a really strong grasp of the science of how coffee extracts, so I could sit here and be like, know what's in that water and know why that is doing this with this.
Right.
Right.
And what's the difference? So what are the ingredients on that one?
So third wave water has magnesium sulfate, calcium citrate, and sodium chloride. And the fancy water has calcium, magnesium, potassium, chloride, potassium and chloride. So it's got potassium in addition to these three. A total dissolved solids of 44.
But they're basically the same ingredients.
Yeah, pretty much. If I were to guess, I would say that maybe there's more in here than is in here. But yes, no, this is intended for drinking, right? This is intended for people to enjoy the drinking of it. There were a lot of other drinking water options. A lot of I almost thought about getting smart water or
that's a whole other thing. The smart water,
electrolyte enhanced
people
stuff.
swear by Fuji water and stuff that comes from certain springs and island water and stuff like natural spring water versus.
We could do a comparison of glaciers and how they make coffee taste.
We could, yeah.
That would be fun to do.
Compare that with global warming data.
Oh no. We should probably
political news.
We should
podcast.
probably do the glacier brewing comparison before they're gone.
But don't.
It's serious though.
You could also use this as a bread roller.
Oh yeah.
You could make cookies.
All right.
So this is the fancy Norway water.
Fancy bottled water from the store.
I mean, the question is whether it's worth.
Well, yeah. So when
you can get 20 gallons for $20 out of this.
True.
Or
I guess
10 gallons.
If you're at home.
Or you can get.
What do you do for your water? What is worth it? I think.
So is it worth 10 times? Is it worth 10 times the money to just buy bottled water for your coffee?
Well, I think the first experiment certainly says
use a Brita.
Filter it at least.
Yep. Go, my friend.
Okay. The second experiment is going to say, and is going to tell us two things because I'm interested in the third wave versus the filtered, but also it's going to say if you do want to really get into the quality of your water, do you get something like this third wave water and buy a bunch of distilled water and essentially make it yourself at home, or do you get fancy bottled water from the store?
I would like to know if our podcast listeners appreciate the film going along with it, if they cross over at all with that.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm hoping that this show will work well as a podcast and as a video show.
Right.
If you are listening
we love
on
feedback.
the podcast right now, go to Coffee Lovers TV on YouTube and you'll be able to find this show. And you can find both at coffeeloversmag.com. I'm going to put up a post with both of them on there. Sweet. And if you're watching, check out the podcast, coffeeloversradio.com. You might notice a theme. What?
It's already really good.
Huh?
It's already really good.
It's very different from the filtered, though.
Maybe I'm really not as consistent as I thought I'm brewing.
No, I think you are.
It's good.
These are pretty close.
Right.
These are pretty close.
I taste a little bit more saltiness in the one from the Norwegian artesian Wendelbo water.
It's not Wendelbo water. Okay, there's the brightness. So I didn't get the brightness on the first sip. It was just smooth and fruity.
Of the third wave?
Yeah. Slight differences.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit more briny seaweed sort of umami flavor on the one from the artesian water.
I could see that, yeah. How does it compare to the filtered water, though? That's the question.
They're fairly similar. I have to say, the filtered water and the third wave water taste the best of the four. I mean, the tap water, hands down, is easy, just flat and chalky.
Yeah, they definitely do taste different.
Both the spring water and the third wave water taste pretty similar. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to say that there's more clarity in that third wave water.
It's smoother, it's cleaner. I get floral, I get herbal, I get fruit.
But that's that fruity edge right off the top that we got out of the filtered water.
I don't get the floral on the fancy water.
Not as much.
Nope. Very interesting. It's a very subtle difference, though.
Yep.
But yeah, I think definitely the best being the filtered.
I'm surprised. I'm often very skeptical of these things, and I think there's a lot of ways to make money on people just trying to overcomplicate regular routines like coffee. And I have to say, just this quick little test, that third wave water actually makes a pretty significant difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what we learned is that you need to filter your freaking water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period. Yeah.
Absolutely. Regardless of where you think you are and how good your tap water is.
it's going to simplify it. It's going to make it more clear. I think that that's what we're kind of tasting in the third wave water is that you're taking distilled pure water and you're putting in a minimum amount of minerals in there to pull out. So there's a lot more clarity.
You know what this does for me? This makes me think that the green coffee was better produced. I don't know how to explain that. But like how you're drinking a coffee and you can just tell
Like higher quality.
that it's that is high quality, like sourced coffee.
Right, and it's the same.
It's
same
that
coffee.
kind of like clarity. They even look different. Look at that! Look how different they. I mean, that is cooled, but still, this is clearer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a cool thing.
The cups are different shades of white. I don't know.
But even in these two, like in the same light, I feel like this is a. Shush.
The listeners can't hear me shaking my head, but the viewers can.
The viewers can hear you shake your head. Yes. Jeez, I mixed them all up now. This is the third wave.
I'm just waiting for this caffeine rush
is
to
the
kind of
boss.
pass through before I can open my mouth again.
Okay, no, maybe it's about the same. Never mind. I'm gonna go away now. I'm gonna edit that out.
Yeah, I don't think you should. I think it's
Okay, we'll leave that in there.
What he's trying to say is that the color of the coffee
Yeah.
often kind of dictates, like certainly the strength of the brew and some of those things, and certainly different coffees, different origins and single origins have different shades of brown that go into that, which is kind of fun.
Well, and also what we're talking about here is the minerals in the water are extracting things.
Right.
So like if the third wave water is extracting only what you want and not other things,
Right.
you could conceivably think, oh well, it might end up being a cleaner looking cup. Certainly tastes cleaner.
Yep.
Now, the big question, I think, is third wave versus filtered. I think it's clear that if you're going to do some fancy water work, sure, go with the distilled and the third wave water, especially if you live in a place that has really terrible tap water.
Yep. And it's fairly cheap. It's
and
it's honestly cheaper than I thought.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
You do 5 gallon,
Yeah, I didn't-
5 gallons for your espresso cart, for
Yeah, well, especially if you're doing
$5.
something like that.
So you're looking at like $10 a day.
For a home brewer, I would say if you're a real enthusiast and you're buying some expensive coffees to brew at home,
Yeah.
you probably want to put some thought into the water that you're brewing with. You absolutely.
Right. If you're spending $17-20 on a 12-ounce bag
Yeah.
of coffee, like you should probably worry about your water.
Yeah.
I would say don't buy a bunch of expensive artesian water from Norway. I think you're better off with a Brita. I think that those are close enough to
Yeah.
each other that
Well, I mean, and the cup from the charcoal filter is really good.
it's really good.
It's definitely. It's got. It's not as. This is the third wave water is a little smoother.
I didn't even look at what this. I wanted to look at what these powdered. Does this look like white powder?
It was white powder.
Go back and look at the video later.
Yeah, it was white powder. Looked like salt.
What if we ate it?
I mean, you can have one of those,
Next
and
episode?
then you can decide what you want to do with it. But I will. I take no responsibility.
All right. Well, I've had a lot of
Would
caffeine.
viewers like to see Jesse eat a packet of third wave water minerals? Vote below in the comments. So yeah,
Commenting.
filter your water.
Yeah.
That's our main conclusion.
Definitely do. Third rate water. Onto
Yeah.
something.
So that was fun to check out, and also just the tap versus the filtered. That was remarkably different.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on the show. Subscribe, Coffee Lovers TV on YouTube. Like the video, comment below, tell us your thoughts. Actually, listeners on the radio, that's a good place to tell us what you think about this show, just in the comment section on YouTube. There's no way to comment
Nope.
on the actually, there might be soon. I just changed how the podcast is hosted, and I think I'm going to be able to set it up on the website so where
cool.
people could leave comments.
Very cool.
We'll see how that goes.
Yep. You can always just call or email.
Yeah, but yeah, call Jesse.
Yep. Midnight, great time. Always answer it.
Coffee Lovers Radio, Coffee Lovers TV, Coffee Lovers Magazine. You might see a theme there.
Yep.
Conduit Coffee. Get your coffee, get your stir sticks.
Yep.
And we're going to go have a caffeine crash.
Yeah. Go get your Chemex on.
Cheers.
Cheers. Good day, sir.
Good day. You have been listening to Coffee Lovers Radio. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Support the producers. Check out Coffee Lovers Magazine at coffeeloversmag.com and download our app. Also get yourself some fantastic coffee from Conduit Coffee at conduitcoffee.com.